everyone. Good morning. I'm here to talk about today's Mars-Pluto conjunction in the sign of Aquarius. Now, it's important to note that Mars-Pluto conjunctions historically have been linked to major events such as war and just a lot of collective energy coming to a climax. And so, you know, we're in a lot collectively right now. And so I think today is really important in terms of how we individually handle it, right? Because each of us are part of the collective, right? And so I think it's completely natural to feel intensity during the Mars-Pluto conjunction, right? Pluto symbolizes intensity and high passion and this magnetism to maintaining and gaining power over a situation, right? But we get to decide how we use that. We get to decide, okay, yeah, I'm feeling intense. I'm feeling a power struggle, right? Power struggles are really, really common with this energy, right? And so it's about identifying when the power struggle is coming up within you, right? And you might already be feeling it today, right? Because we're in it. And Mars is about our primal instinctual energy, right? It's our drive to survive, right? Mars. And so when Mars and Pluto are together, right, this big brother, little brother energy of Mars and Pluto, when they're together, there is this urge, there's this drive, there's this um, intensity, right? And whatever has been brewing, whatever has been going on in the collective or in your sphere of life, right? It's most likely feeling extra today. It's most likely feeling like it's coming to a head. And there are going to be things in the headlines and the news that catch your attention with their extremity, right? And so it's important to know that when we go on social media today, when we read the news today, or even the rest of this week, that we are signing on to intensity, right? And so what I'm recommending is taking a lot of deep breaths really before engaging with anything or anyone today and know, okay, this person, usually when I engage with this person, or usually when I engage with social media, or usually when I read the news, I get emotionally triggered or things escalate very easily between this person and I, right? And just kind of make a conscious choice to maybe not engage today, to maybe take a step back and give yourself some space to work through the anger that's on the surface, right? Because that's the other thing about this transit, this Mars-Pluto conjunction, is that the anger is whatever's right below the surface is meant to be brought beyond the surface today. And that can look many different ways. And so because there's so many of us that contribute to the collective, if more of us can make that conscious choice to be conscious, to be aware of like this intense energy and how we're all human beings with these primal drives and these natural emotions such as rage and aggression and tension that is at a climax, right? Um, we're being called to use that tension and that intensity, that passion in a productive way, right? And so whether that means, um, you know, releasing tension through massage, or through sex, whether it's with another person that's consensual or with yourself, right? Like this is a time that that energy could be released in a really pleasureful way as well. Um, because the energy is going to want to be released. That's the thing about Mars and Pluto together, is that Mars wants to go release it anyway. Pluto is like, you've got to do something with this energy. You've got to transform it, right? Pluto wants to get us to alchemize the energy, right? Pluto wants us to not just move the energy, right? That's the little brother Mars mentality of like, I just want to move the energy. Pluto's like, no, we want to alchemize the energy. We want to turn it from anger into joy. We want to turn it from, this intense rage into this intense ecstasy, right? And the journey to do that can be messy. And so if we're aware of that, we can use it in different ways. We can be productive, we can be conscious, we can be intentional with that energy. If you know that anger is something that is difficult for you to process and deal with, that you typically misplace anger onto other people that don't really deserve it. Maybe it's a time for you to step back and set a boundary that you're needing a day of solitude. Maybe you're going to do a lot of journaling. Maybe you're going to do, some yoga or some, martial arts, or, something that is meant to help you release tension in a way that doesn't have anything to do with engaging with other people necessarily. And so using this energy in a way that is supportive to you, it gives other people permission to use it that way too. It's not to say that we're not going to see extreme headlines, because we are, right? It's not to say that we know what this energy is going to do, because we don't, especially because it's in the sign of Aquarius, right? Aquarius is co-ruled by Uranus, which is pretty much the planet of unpredictability, right? And so we don't know what the headlines are going to be. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we have control over ourselves, right? And we get a say in what we decide to engage in today and what we don't. And I think it's just about being wise. It's about knowing thyself. It's about being like, okay, this being with this group of people, right? Because Aquarius rules groups. Aquarius rules friendships, right? So being with this group of people, being with these friends, tends to emotionally trigger me. I tend to feel some kind of way after being around them. I tend to feel some kind of way after being in this Facebook group. Just being like, today's not the day to go on there. Today's not the day to be in that group chat. Today's the day to actually silence my phone, right? There's all of these choices that we can make today that I think can help the intensity of this transit take it down a notch, right? And like I said, not everyone's going to do this. So you get to choose to be one of the people that consciously engages with this transit in a way that is an intention for peace, right? Because ultimately, Pluto is about healing. It's about transformative healing. And that transformative healing can be messy, like I was saying. And so if you can choose peace, if you can choose, downtime and less engaging, and um, being with your own feelings and taking more deep breaths than you usually do before speaking, right? That's huge. Like, okay, I have to take 3 deep breaths before saying how I feel to other people. If I feel myself bubbling, right? Because this is a very bubbling, felt sense Mars-Pluto energy, right? It's a felt sense of like blood boiling, right? And so, Mars rules blood, Pluto rules boiling, right? Because in order to alchemize anything, you've got to pretty much get it to a boiling point and then um, bring it to a new place. It's right. The extremes of the pendulum swinging in both directions in order for it to come back to the center. How can you facilitate this process of the pendulum swinging to extremes in your own life in your own internal world without letting it get out of control in your outer world, right? Because Aquarius is a very outer energy, right? It has to do with groups and other people and mass consciousness, right? So, how can you bring your consciousness into yourself without allowing the masses to dictate what you're focused on today? And so that's what I wanted to share about this very particular, very potent, um, very monumental transit of Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Because keeping in mind that Mars and Pluto are not the only planets in Aquarius. We've got this complete lineup of planets in Aquarius right now, and um, it's a lot. It's very overstimulating. And so again, another reason to invite yourself into this intentional downtime, this intentional social media break, this intentional silencing of group texts, right? Like this is the time to just give yourself permission to turn it off in order to avoid escalation and chaos in your own world. And that's all I really have to say about it. But I did want to give all of you a heads up that there's potential for a lot of intensity today, and you get to decide what you want to do with that intensity. I'm sending all my love. I just brought my son to school and I wished all of the teachers a peaceful day. Because that's what this can be, right? Like we get to choose peace. We get to identify the outlet for peace today. And we're going to, if we look around us, we're going to see a lot of people not choosing it. And so what are you going to do? That's the question. Okay. I love you all. Have a peaceful day.